For questions, we have 2 mics set up on mic stands on the side of the room, so let's see if we can get some lines going on those.
Sure.
And we do have one right here.
Who has a mic? Oh.
Yeah, line up.
Lady in the green. Hello, lady in the green.
Hello. Jamie, I mean, you guys kind of answered this, but I was going to say, don't you think the point of the Final 5 reveal is that we have these characters that we've fallen in love with, and the whole point, it seems to me, would be that we're now forced to deal with it even more so than watching the humanization of 8 and 6 and all that. I mean, we already love these characters. It would seem to me that the point of the reveal would just be to force us to see the humanity of it. And but you kind of answered that already. So there was a question, but they kept talking while I was standing in line.
Listen, you were dead right. I think that's been the journey from the very beginning. When the Cylons first appeared, it was Tricia Helfer walking down this thing with her clicky heels, doing her fashion model runway catwalk thing, and literally man-eating at the end of it. And it was, you know, scary as all hell, slightly sexy and titillating, but scary. And gradually the Cylons have been made more complex by their interaction with humans, and they've kind of developed an emotional life in the complexity of having to deal every day with humans and meeting them and sleeping with them and all this stuff. And yeah, you know, the whole journey of the show is really about mixing the two. And I, you know, get it's like an exercise in Brownian motion for you physicists. You know, you start 2 smokes at different sides of the room. By the end of it, the pink smoke and the blue smoke will make some kind of cyan smoke in the middle. Shut up.
I know who's been smoking. I love these dead silences. Go ahead, right there.
One of the complaints that I had about the four Cylons who were revealed was that those eyes in the
Tori.
were both there. And doesn't that sort of upset the balance?
That Ty and Tori were both.
Yeah, you have
Such high levels.
Yeah, I had a, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. But I think the idea of that is that, you know, these Cylons, obviously, even if they don't know they're Cylons, that they're working to a plan, that the whole thing's going somewhere. So the fact that they're influential people must be part of the deal about what they're up to.
Yeah, his comment was that Ty, Tori, people at such high levels are turned out to be Cylons.
Heroes are pretty high level, though.
Yes, he is. Love you. We're gonna hug later.
I want a hug!
You're gonna have to fight her.
Without giving anything away, from what the 3 of you have seen of season 4, from what you've read and shot already, is it the opinion that you have that the 4th season is going to be sufficient time to wrap up the storyline and bring it to a satisfactory conclusion? Or are we kind of going to be left hanging, or maybe possibly trapdoors being set for a possible continuation? What's your assessment of the timeline you have to finish?
I've said this from the beginning. If you like season 1, you'll love season 2. If you like season 2, you'll love season 3. If you like season 3, you'll love season 4.
But we don't know how it ends, so
I do.
The writers just recently ran off to Lake Tahoe to desperately try and think of an ending, and I think they're literally terrified because all the obvious endings, like Finding Earth, it begs a finding of Earth. But then everyone, all you fans, all of us, are way ahead of them. We've thought of every possible version of what time, date, political ramifications, historical, anthropological ramifications that you can find Earth in. So I don't know how they're going to surprise us, but I don't envy the hotel rooms in Lake Tahoe with like scroll pen all over the walls. I'm sure only 1 or 2 of them will come back and there'll be lots of suicides. I hope I'm wrong.
No, you know, I had dinner with Bradley Thompson, one of the writers, and they told me that they'd finally worked out the ending to Battlestar, but after about 40 sakis, which I bought him, he wouldn't share any of the information. But, you know, I will say one thing. I think even when you work out the story arc, there's always a shot, there's a chance that things will change. So through the course of the season, there's still opportunities, God knows. I'm hoping somehow they either bypass Earth or get to Earth and decide that's not the place they want to hang out and go on. But it would be nice to open up the door for something in the future. I think Battlestar is too incredible a story to go down.
I know what happens.
What happens?
I know, I'm not gonna tell you.
You're trying to get free sake.
It's gonna go some more soggy than that. We find Earth and we land at Dragon Con next year. This is how you get the big cheers, guys. Pay attention. There.
You three have ended up playing really three of the most complex characters, especially now that we've discovered that Chief Tyrrell is a Cylon.
Yeah, he wasn't complex before that, I agree with you.
I mean, in the sense that he's always been like the everyman, you know, like, okay, except for the fact that he was in love with a Cylon. I mean, come on. But, you know, and then Richard Hatch as your Zarek, who you...
Did you already say Apollo? As a pop, Richard, as Zarek.
I get confused all the time.
He's always hanging out in my trailer. I get in there and go, what are you doing in here again?
I'm really pissed, I really am.
And he's always wearing his thigh-length boots and his cape. And I'm like,
Come on, you grew up wanting to wear that cape, I know you did.
I do ask him to leave it behind after we leave.
I just don't understand, you know, it's really not true to the Apollo character that you get laid all the time, and I
haven't been laid in a long time.
You have 3 kids. That's that all right.
What's talking is me, Aaron. We worked out what caused the kids now.
It gets really awkward when Richard calls Eddie Lorne. Okay, keep going. Tell Richard how complex he is.
You know, one minute you love him, well, I mean, not love, but I mean, you know.
Not in a biblical sense.
And then, you know, you have Apollo who
Which
tries
Apollo?
to go...
The other one.
I was going to say the Apollo, but I'm not sure.
Mark II, just call him Mark II.
Yeah, Mark II.
Lee, call him Lee, call him Lee.
You know, I had to go through all of this with the other Richard Hatch, you know? I've been confused for the last 5-6 years of my life.
Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed to have imposters take your name. There's going to be a new Tom Zarek show up soon.
But how does it make you feel to know that your characters are so complex? The show is so complex and deals with so many different aspects of life, not just life on Battlestar Galactica, but real-world events and all of that. Does that make you proud? Do you watch the episodes religiously like the rest of us? Or I mean, that was the question.
It makes me feel very lucky. It's really rare that you get to work with, characters writing, directors, actors, like the company that we've been fortunate enough to have. Not fortunate, I mean, they've guided it this way, and may never happen for me again. So I've enjoyed every second of it, and it's very, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This is an amazing ride.
Yeah, I think sometimes in a show, you don't really appreciate what you have until you've lost it. And you have to remind people that this comes along once sometimes in a lifetime that you get to be part of a show like this. But one of the big fears for me is
twice in a lifetime for you.
I'm not in every show, so usually sometimes we're uncomfortable watching ourselves. But in this case, you really, when you get your script, you have a little trepidation because you don't know if you're going to go out an airlock. And really, it's terrifying because you start to identify and care about your character, and then all of a sudden they're going to kill me or do this to me. You really kind of take it personally. But this is a show that I think a lot of us actors are fans of the show as well. So we watch it each week. We can't wait to see what's going to happen with everybody else. So it's great.